Hi everyone, I am your law teacher and today I am going to discuss on the topic the various sources of Hindu law. Hindu law is not a new subject. It is as old as the civilization, which is considered to be the most ancient law system, which is around 6000 years old. The sources of Hindu law can be divided into two. The first one is ancient source and the second one is modern source. Ancient sources are otherwise known as original source or primary sources or traditional sources, and modern sources are otherwise known as secondary sources. The first one, ancient source, consists of Shruti, Smriti, digest and commentaries, customs and usages. And the second one, modern source, consists of equity, justice and good conscience, precedents, judicial decisions and legislations. Shruti. Shruti is derived from the word shru, which means to hear, and it signifies what is heard from the Veda. It is believed that Shruti is the language of gods through the sages. Shrutis are considered as the primary and paramount source of Hindu law. The Shruti consists of the four Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samveda and Atharva Veda. Some people believe that Vedas contains laws and code of conduct, while others believe that laws have to be inferred from Vedas. These four Vedas has three parts, namely Sanhita, which consists of hymns, which means a religious song or poem to praise the god. Second one, Brahmin, which tells us duties and means of performing them. And Upanishad means essence of the duties. Smritis. The word Smriti was derived from the word Smri, which means to remember or what was remembered. Smritis means those works which are created by the virtue of memory of sages. The basis of Smritis are Shrutis. Smritis can be mentioned as a step ahead of Shrutis. It is the second important source of Hindu law. There are two types of Smritis. First one, Dharam Sutras and Dharam Shastras, the second one. The basic difference lies in the fact that Dharam Sutras are written in the form of prose, while Dharam Shastras are written in the form of slogas, that means poetry form. The third one is digest and commentaries. Digest and commentaries came after Smritis during the 7th century. These are the third important source of Hindu law. The evolution of different schools of Hindu law is a result of these digest and commentaries, as these are interpretations of the Smriti and hence the difference of opinion happened, and because of that different schools of Hindu law emerged. The work done to explain a particular Smriti is called a commentary. Some of the important commentaries include Manubhashya, Manutika and Midakshara. One of the most important digest is Jimutvahana's Dayabhaga. Midakshara is another well-recognized and supreme source of law in India. It is based on the commentaries written by Vijnaneshwara on the code of Yajnavalkya. The main objective of these two sources is to collect the spread material available in the form of Smritis and Shrutis and to assemble it in a more complete form for the betterment of the society. The next source is custom. Custom is a step of generally followed conducts. It is a habitual course of conduct by the people. Custom is created in accordance to the conduct of everyday life. Most Hindu laws are based on customs. Custom is a rule which in a particular family or in a particular district has from long usage obtain the force of law. Customs can be classified into 4 types: local customs, caste and community customs, family customs, and guild customs. Local customs are followed in a particular geographical area and its application is limited to that particular area only. Caste and community customs prevail in certain community of people and the people of that particular community follow the custom, that particular custom. Family customs that exist in a particular family. And guild customs are followed by a certain group of traders. The words customs and usages are often used interchangeably, but there is some sort of difference between the two. Usage is the repetition of acts, while custom is a law or general rule that arises from such repetition. A usage may exist without custom, but custom can never exist without usage. Usage derives its authority from the parties to the transaction, but custom where existing is binding on the parties. There are certain requirements for a valid custom. It should be ancient, continuous, reasonable, should not against the morality, certainty, consistency, and it should not against any laws. Now we can discuss the modern source of Hindu law. Modern sources of Hindu law refers to those sources which emerged over time and evolved in the present form. The following are the main sources of modern sources of Hindu law: equity, justice and good conscience, legislation and precedent. Equity, justice and good conscience. Equity means being fair and implies fairness in dealing. True justice can be provided through equity and good conscience. Sometimes it happens when a problem comes before the court for resolution, it cannot be settled by prevailing laws. Such a situation may be rare but might occur. In such situation, courts cannot refuse to provide a remedy, and also they are under obligation to decide such a case. In such cases, the courts are guided by the principle of reasonableness, basic values and fair play. So this principle is known as equity, justice and good conscience, and it is also known as natural law. This principle of natural law was prevalent in India since the British era. So wherever conflict arises in the interpretation of Hindu law, this principle is used by the courts either to formulate a new law or to carry forward existing laws. Legislation, another source. The legislation is an act of parliament that plays an important role in the formation of Hindu law. The legislation is often regarded as a tool for social change. The legislation provides a base and validity to the laws. The parliament, in accordance with the needs of society, constitutes new laws. Some enacted Hindu laws are Hindu Widow Remarriage Act of 1856, Special Marriage Act of 1872, which was repealed in 1954, the Hindu Marriage Act of 1955, the Hindu Succession Act of 1956, the Adoption and Maintenance Act 1956. Now come precedents. All cases are now recorded and new cases are decided based on existing case laws. After the establishment of British rule, the hierarchy of courts was established. The doctrine of precedent, based on the principle of treating like cases alike, was established. And precedent is also considered to be a source of Hindu law. And by this, today's class came to an end, and thanks for watching my channel. Bye.